Well, hello, sunshine. We got the bearing pockets cut on this 455 Husky cylinder. This is a stock one, this aftermarket one. I've cut them both. This one here was proof of concept. I'm gonna get this one here out of you so I can get my bench cleaned off, move back over here. There's a couple considerations on this one. This one's aftermarket Chinesium. We always hear about how terrible they are. Oh, ain't worth a hoot and heck, and blah, blah, blah. We've always heard these Chinesium cylinders just ain't worth a hoot, and most of the time that's fairly accurate. At least on the very cheap ones that I buy, I can always generally see a very big decline in horsepower going from a stock cylinder that's good to an aftermarket one. But to me, it's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. If you want to put a jigsaw puzzle together, there's 5 or 10 pieces. It takes you 10 minutes because you're in the business of putting chainsaws out, or because you're in the business of putting puzzles together, and the more puzzles put together and the prettier they are, then OEM's the way to go. But if you're like me, and I just only afford to buy every once in a while a puzzle, so I just soon get a 10,000 piece puzzle that's nothing but a blue sky and just take you jillions of years to figure out how to put it together. Get my money's worth that way, don't I? I don't know. Let me convince myself of that. Yeah, being cheap ain't necessarily always working out. Them look awful similar now, but they didn't. Let me move you guys out of the way. I'm gonna leave this base on here for now, just in case I gotta mess with this some more. I'm gonna get you guys where you used to sit, and then I'll jabber at you some more, let you know what the problems I got, and then we'll cut the base on this cylinder. I'll show you how my setup is for that. Okay, on the surface, they're both pretty similar. This one's the aftermarket, this one's the OEM. The OEM factory had 29,000 squish. This one had 54,000, so another 25,000 squish, which really hurt it performance-wise. Had 130 psi compression. I didn't check that one. They're both very similar on the intake timing. 138 on the aftermarket, 140 total opening on the OEM. The exhaust on the aftermarket was 107, was 105 on the OEM, so another 2 degrees on the aftermarket, which gives us a little bit of room to play with, or build compression if that's what you want to do. I just assume them be short as long when I get them, unless they're okay. Same way with the intake, this was a little short, so it left room to open it if a guy chose to make it a little bit bigger. Now, there's some more similarities. For proof of concept, I took 20 thousandths out of these bearing pockets, seal pockets, and this. I think that's just a guide, just to keep the seal from blowing out. I took 20 thousandths out of each one of these to drop this cylinder down. Now, I haven't taken the base yet. This was proof of concept on my machining, I won't call them skills. Took 34 thousandths out of this one. Should set down to set my squish down about where I wanted it. Like I said, we was at 54,000, so I took 54,000 squish, so I took 34 thousandths off of it. Kind of, sort of, maybe. This one here, when I took 20 thousandths out of it, I set my cutter, set everything, measured off, and when I touched here, and when I touched here, I also touched back here. It was just perfect. It just barely scraped the oxidation off. It was a perfect it was a nice radius. This factory one had a nice radius on all 3 of these were a nice radius. They cut them real well. Well, when I moved on to this one here, she hits here, she hits here, and I was zeroed. But this pocket was not a nice radius. It was a couple thousandths out on the radius. So I'm gonna have to sneak up on cutting this base, because now it's got a nice radius, but it didn't before, just running the dial indicator around there. This thing was about 5 thousandths, 4 to 5 thousandths deeper here than it was wide here. So I took off right about 4 thousandths out here before I ever touched in there. So previously it could have been clamping the bearing right here and not been clamping the bearing right here and clamping it here and here, but not there, and not getting a nice clamp around that bearing the whole way. Now the radius is right, but like I said, I took 34 thousandths off from where I touched. But now if we're clamping it down, even though I took 34 thousandths out, if we're hitting here first or at the same time instead of here and here, I may only need to take 29 thousandths off the base. So we'll just play with that. But that's kind of a moot point anyway. There's another similarity that I'm not necessarily proud of on both of these cylinders. This, I'm sure you can't see in there. Might be able to hear it. There's a little bit of a score right there on the exhaust side. I think that comes from getting it too hot. Now, I'm running more cylinders, but it's idiotic running, and I ain't figured it out yet. This one here is scarred up on the inside like a 10-cent watermelon right now. Oh, you hear that? We can catch it. It's catching hard enough to rock that cylinder. Right here it won't rock the cylinder. You can hear me rocking it on the table, catching in them grooves. Now what caused that? That's 2 cylinders in a row. Now, I'm not saying I didn't miss anything. Well, hell, kicks. I'm not saying I didn't miss anything, but I checked the bearings real well. Crankshaft bearings and rod bearings, upper and lower. Now, sandbagging you just a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. What I want to tell you is when I screwed the spark plug in here, when I originally put this saw together, I thought, well, that screwed in a little hard, but didn't think nothing about it. I screwed it in, backed it out, and screwed it in. It seemed like it was just almost crossed there at the beginning. I'm going to see if I can get you guys right in here on this. There, I think you. Oh, there, I think you can see it. Right there, that's a hole. That's a pock hole in that casting. And I think what I did is, I think there was either sand from casting or aluminum or something. I think when I screwed that spark plug down in there and unscrewed it and let it back down in there, I think that went down on top of the cylinder. So until I can learn to take better care of my toys, I guess we'll not be cutting the base today. We've proved a concept twice on bearing pockets now. And Super Dave Outdoors, I think I probably mentioned it already, sent me another saw that I assume has a good cylinder on it. But until I can learn to take care of my cheap toys, I ain't going to use the OEM cylinder. So we're starting in like a ball of fire here. 2 bad cylinders already, and boy, we ain't done nothing. So guys, this will be a short video. Just thought I'd catch you up on where I'm at and what I'm doing. And we're still working on the intake block proof concept to do away with the stratified carburetor. That carburetor will be in here in a couple days, but I was kind of hoping to have this cylinder done by then, but it looks like it's going to be behind. It looks like it's going to be behind on old Brown Santa. I got the right length of bolts and everything picked up today, so she's going to be just right to put us a regular carburetor on. We may have to bore a hole a little bit, but guys, not much in this video, just a little bit of progress report, I guess. Yeah, appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.